And good afternoon to you, South Africa, and welcome to a Wednesday here on Afternoon Express. My name is Danilo Acquisto.
Welcome indeed. I'm Bonnie Booley. Happy Reconciliation Day. Now, to those of you who never get a chance to watch Afternoon Express because you're at work, well, happy holiday, and I'm glad you're joining us today. Welcome.
Yeah, you guys are probably chilling at home. Well, we're here doing all the hard work, but it's also important for every South African to remember what it is that we're here to do today. Being Reconciliation Day, it's important for us to take note of that and remember what that means for us as a country.
Yeah.
We're so honored in the loft today to have an household name, an international jazz musician. He's a composer. He writes his own songs. He is a brilliant pianist. You'll know him by Abdullah Ibrahim, and he's live in our loft today and has agreed to do a performance for us on the show later on. So you and I are going to get a great treat.
Awesome, can't wait. We also get a chance to speak to Analyst and Public Speaker on gender, politics, leadership and cultural issues, Nomboniso Gasa, and she'll be chatting to us about where South Africa's at in terms of the democratic goals that it had set for itself back in 1994.
Indeed. So as you know, the festive season is around the corner. Everyone's getting excited to cook. I know all those recipes are lined up from you from Afternoon Express for this Christmas season. And if you want to know what to do with all of those leftovers, Jeannie's on standby.
Thanks, guys, and hello to you, South Africa. So I really do love public holidays, and apparently Claire Winstanley does as well, because she's gotten a little lazy. I looked at the menu and it said toasted sandwiches. Are you serious?
I'm quite sure it doesn't say that. Let's give it a more posh name. Let's call it grilled cheese.
Okay.
So I know it's not Christmas yet, but the holidays is all about leftovers. There's so much eating happening. You've got to do something with what's left over. So we're making pulled pork grilled cheese sandwiches. Pulled lamb. Pulled lamb.
Grilled cheese. Oh,
you can
my
do pulled
goodness.
pork if you want to.
Tasty. I'm looking forward to this. I love public holidays. And remember, you can cook with us too. All you need to do is visit our website, Afternoon Express, for all of our ingredients, shopping lists, and so much more. And of course, we are live today. So why don't you tweet us at Afternoon Chat using the official hashtag Afternoon Express and send us a message on Facebook as well. But for now, we've got Bonnie on the couch with our very first guest.
Now, we are incredibly honoured to have one of South Africa's icons in our loft on the Day of Reconciliation. He was born in Cape Town in 1934, and over the past 81 years, he has seen it all. From growing up in apartheid South Africa, being exiled from the country, to witnessing the fall of apartheid and the birth of democracy, having written iconic songs such as Man and Berg, which draws influences from all types of South African music and is celebrated by jazz audiences across the globe. We could not have a more appropriate guest on this important historical day. Joining us in the loft is Abdullah Ibrahim. Welcome to the loft, sir.
You're welcome.
Lovely to have you.
Pleasure.
So, happy Reconciliation Day.
Yes.
What does it mean to you?
We need to look deep within ourselves what we regard as reconciliation. There are many things left unanswered. We have achieved some kind of freedom, but I think it's important that we look at our individual and collective role that we're charting for ourselves.
Yeah.
Especially with young people, there is a tendency that we really don't know our history. Number one, we don't know our country. I've traveled all over the world. You will see people wherever they are. They've traveled in their country. In South Africa, we don't know.
Yeah, and Africa.
And one of the things that we need to address when we talk about the reconciliation is reconciliation within ourselves.
Yeah.
Individually and collectively.
Yeah, that's so true. Now, you started playing the piano at 7 in 1941. What was it about the piano that enchanted you so much? Because a couple of years later, you played professionally, which was not long after that.
Well, those years, the only instrument that was actually in the homes were pianos.
Well, pianos. And they were quite
some used to be pianos. So I grew up here in Cape Town. I was born in Kensington, and early years in the 6-6. And Kensington, my grandmother was a founding member of the AME Church.
Okay, yeah.
So that's where the piano resonated. There was a piano at home.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And in the church.
Wow. Kipim Wekete was one of your biggest influences in the early days of your music. How did you meet him and what did you learn from him?
Well, I was a young man in Cape Town and I heard about this great musician in Johannesburg, Kipim Wekete. And I wanted to meet him so much, so I walked from Cape Town to Johannesburg.
You walked from Cape Town to Johannesburg?
Yeah, 3 times.
How long did it take you?
A couple of months.
Wow. Did you like pack food? Would you
No,
stop and
food,
sleep on the way?
Money, I really see what happens on the way. You know, this is how we play the music. Let's see what happens on the way.
Wow. And did those times change you in any way? Did they impact you spiritually?
Well, yeah, perhaps, but there is this insatiable appetite to learn, no matter where it was, no matter what the regime told us how they were going to stop us from learning. You know, the public library in the gardens, the cultural section of that public library, I read everything in there 3 times. I wiped them out.
What? That is amazing.
Yeah, so it's this quest for understanding the self.
And knowledge.
Yeah, so I heard about Kitten Mokechi, this great musician, so I walked to Johannesburg, and I lived with him in the township in Josgog. Kitten was an incredible musician. He was the one that really steered us to say that what we have inherently is valid.
Yes.
Yeah. But Kitten was incredible because he studied classical music. He was a clarinet player. He used to play Beethoven's, Mozart's clarinet concerto.
Wow.
You know, music was at that level.
That's
and so
incredible.
that was the kind of dynamic and people that I tried to look for in the country. So that's why I went to Johannesburg to meet Kippie.
Wow. Now, it was in 1960s, South Africans were being shuffled from place to place because of the Group Areas Act. But this was when your Dollar Brand Trio was doing your first European tour.
Yep.
What was that like?
Well, it was, I mean, the regime was really repressive. You know, I mean, District 6 is up the road here. We were thrown out, and people were moved to Manenberg and Bonthavel. Many people in our family, our neighbors, people that I know, people actually died. Some of the older people died. It was a broken heart. I've even been living in a place for all those years and then get thrown out of it.
Yeah, displacement can really break your heart.
Like Manenberg and these townships. For us, they were concentration camps. So, but finally we had this opportunity to leave the country. In fact, it was a question that we had to leave the country because for me as well as many other people, there was this knock 4 o'clock in the morning, and they surrounded the house, surrounded my place here, put submachine guns and stuff, and put me in prison.
Wow.
But
Speaking of which, was it difficult for you to get travel documents to leave the country? What are some of the challenges you faced, travel-wise?
We are improvisers, you see. So I wanted a passport, and nobody wanted to help me with the passport. So I went into in Johannesburg. I went into the passport control, pass office where they issue passports. So I asked for the forms. They gave me the forms, and then I went to Sophiatown with my friends, and I filled out the forms, and it said there that you must have police clearance.
Yes.
You see. So I just went to the first police station, and they said, "What you doing here?" I said, "Well, it's form." And they said, "But you're supposed to go there first." And then so he asked me a couple of questions about the underground and people in the struggle, and I said, "I don't know anything about that. I'm a musician." So he stopped it for me.
Oh wow, that's incredible.
And then when I went back to the passport office, they were surprised that I actually got
police clearance. Yes.
The problem was that I had never paid taxes. So I had to have a tax clearance.
How much of your music was influenced by the apartheid era?
We are storytellers. No? We're storytellers. In West Africa, we call ourselves griots.
Griots, yes.
So traditionally, in the tradition, you know, from all over the world, from hunter-gatherer folk, and our tradition here is that our history is told in story form.
Wow.
You say.
Yeah.
So the songs
true.
that I write about people, about the struggle, about events. When I was in high school, my teacher gave me very good advice.
Yeah.
So when you write write about something that you know best.
Wow. Speaking of which, Manenberg, the song that became an anthem for Black South Africans all over.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about that song? What's at the heart of it for you?
Well, it was at that. Well, it was almost like a moment of synergy when we recorded that song here in Cape Town and also the Soweto uprising. I mean, they were shooting young people down here. My family got arrested and so. And our traditional music, the music that we played, the record companies never wanted to play it because it was. We were deemed to be from a decadent society, so our music was decadent. Anyway, so nobody wanted to record us. So when we were in Cape Town, I had asked some of the musicians over the years to play this music. So,
Yeah.
But Basil could see, the saxophone player, he was the first one to take on the challenge because we had to create something which was totally new, but in our genre. So when you improvise, you don't use any jazz phrasing, but it's so in sync with our experience. So when we went into the studio, I had arranged about 4 or 5 other songs, and we were recording this, and there was about 5-minute break, and in the corner there was an upright piano.
Yeah.
So I touched the upright piano, said, tang, tang, ting, tang, those were the first notes. But the sound was very strange because what the people used to do, you know, the upright piano, the hammers hit like that against the note. So what they used to do, they put drawing pins on the tip of the hammer. So when it strikes, you get this this metallic sound, almost like that.
Wow.
Yeah. So and then the horns picked it up. Okay, let's have a breeze. And we recorded it 17 minutes. And we went back. We went back to record the other stuff, but we said, wait a minute, something happened there. And when we listened to it, we realized that everything that we had thought about creatively and musically in our genre had pulled together. There was no prior rehearsal. It was 17 minutes of just pure
magic.
We were free.
Wow. Wow. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Welcome.
But you're not leaving us yet. You're going to perform for us. We're looking forward to that. Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Thank you.
So, well, if you're in Cape Town this week, you are in for a treat because Abdullah Ibrahim will be performing live this Friday, the 18th December, at the Maynardville Open Air Theatre in Wynberg. And make sure you stay tuned till the end of the show because he will be treating us to an exclusive performance as well. After the break, Jeannie shows us an innovative way to turn Christmas leftovers into a quick and easy lunch meal. And we chat to researcher, analyst and public speaker Nomboniso Gasa. We'll be right back.
Salati Plantation Select adds subtle sweetness to toffees, caramel, bran muffins, or sprinkled into a spicy curry. Salati, always good, always sweet.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express. So a grilled cheese is a grilled cheese is a grilled cheese, but today we're adding a little Winstanley spin on it. How do we get started?
Okay, so we've got leftovers. That's how we get started. So whatever leftovers you have, we've got leftover lamb. You know, there's going to be leftover gammon, there's going to be turkey, chicken, whatever you got going there. Pull it up. Pulled, literally, just like scratch it up with a fork, not with your nails.
That looked a bit aggressively.
Get a fork, get 2 forks, and you just kind of pull the meat apart. You end up with this, and you can make yummy sandwiches with it. So we're going to cheat a little bit because we're on leftovers. Why not keep going? So we've got some garlic bread. I find this the best way to make a grilled cheese. So in saying all this leftovers thing, this is also a really cool thing that you can use for entertaining. So little like snacks for when you've got, say, the next, say, on the 26th or 27th, and you've got guests over and you've got all these leftovers and you want to feed them, but still make it like kind of yummy. This is it. So they're little bite-sized cocktail kind of. So we take our.
And I love garlic. I'm Portuguese. It's my national flower.
Okay, there we go. There we go. So we're just going to take this out. And you can actually, I like to make, when I do my grilled cheese, I like to wrap it in foil because it just is an even heat. It just sort of creates a pocket, a nice warm pocket where that cheese can just really melt. So you can actually even use this foil as well. So everything kind of comes contained. So it's cut, so we're just going to chop it up, or you can break it up, whatever you want. And then you're going to start. What would lamb be without mint jelly.
Oh, fabulous.
So Willie's has a yummy, yummy mint jelly. So we're just going to spread that on. You can also use mint sauce if you want. So here's enough for you.
Thank you. And I'm going to just butter it with the...
So you're going to use, the butter side's going to stay on the outside because that's what you're going to use for, oh, I mean, both sides are buttered.
Both sides are buttered.
Yeah. I just realised that now.
You almost caught me there.
So you will, on the edge pieces, the ones that don't have butter, then you're going to keep those for the outside for grilling.
Okay.
And then we're just going to, how's that going there with your
Yeah,
mint?
I'm going to need the cheese.
You go cheese. Okay, so you're going to grill, you're going to do all those for me.
Yeah, why not?
I'm just going to pull these apart because it's just quicker.
Have you ever watched that movie, The Chef, where that guy goes and makes those food trucks?
I don't think I could possibly stand here right now if I hadn't watched it. It's like a must.
So what a great movie. And the best scene, I think, in any kind of food movie for me was when he was making the grilled cheese.
And when it pulls apart and all the cheese just oozes out onto the table.
I was actually salivating watching
And you know that's
that.
a real story, right? It's a true story.
Really?
Real chef, Roy Choi, amazing. Just saying he follows me on Twitter. Claim to fame.
Oh, my word. And if you aren't following Clay on Twitter, where have you been this whole year?
I've got to have one claim to fame. It's like nerdy chef talk here, okay?
I know.
Okay, so then
Seal
get that.
and Josh Groban follow me on Twitter.
We'll continue this later. So it's nice, compact, little bite size, like easy for entertaining. Pop that onto a nice warm pan, and we're going to start grilling those up.
Because the pan's warm. Oh, yeah, it is
And we're just going to keep making those, so we can just keep going on those.
Okay, we've got a little production line going here. This is fantastic. And simple to do.
Exactly.
There's really not much that's better in life than a good grilled cheese.
Absolutely, and you can put just about anything on here, like I said.
Oh, the gammon will be amazing on here. You're making me look forward to Christmas even more.
No, I
How
mean,
fantastic is that?
that's really it. So honestly, that's it. Add any cheese you want. We've actually got a Oak Smoke Stanford from Woolworths, which is just beautiful, smoky notes coming through in this, and then some mozzarella.
Fabulous. Thank you so much, Claire. There you go. Oh,
we'll
and
finish
I'm
those
pretty
up
sure
really
you're going to find this just as delicious as we are. Remember, recipe on our website, afternoonexpress.co.za. But for now, Danila's on a couch with our next guest.
Indeed, you should be like a green representative because you're reducing, reusing, recycling, all those good things. Now, it's time to get an important discussion happening on our couch today. According to the Institute for Justice and Reconciliation, South African Reconciliation Barometer, big words of 2015, that survey came out and said that most South Africans agree that the creation of a united, reconciled nation remains a worthy objective to pursue. But the country remains afflicted by its historical divisions, such as income inequality and race relations. The report states that although there is a desire among most South Africans to have more contact with people from racial groups other than their own, they are prevented from doing so by the spatial and economic legacies of apartheid. Now, to help us take stock of where we are in the process of reconciliation, our special guest is prominent researcher, analyst and freelance writer and gender and political and cultural issues, Nomboniso Gasa. As a published scholar, editor and activist, she has been an immense contributor and South Africans' thought, and she's also South African thought and opinion leader too, creating necessary dialogue around the issues of the day. So very warm welcome to Nomboniso, and I'm very glad that you've made yourself comfortable on our couch. I think I'm going to do the same thing. Just to make ourselves at home.
You're welcome.
It's an honor to have you. I follow your tweets.
Thank you very much for having me.
I follow your tweets all the time, and it's so cool to have this opinion out in person because you type them out and you always wonder, like, is there more behind all those thoughts that you put down on the social media sites? So, Nomboniso, we've had this long period of reconciliation for our country. 1994, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission was a big part of my studies as we went through. What exactly are we celebrating then today? What does that process mean for us as South Africans?
Well, I mean, I think what we are celebrating is the fact that as a people, as a country, we continue to seek ways in which we can be a free society. We continue to seek ways in which we can have a deeper understanding of the multiple forms of oppression, exclusion, and the multiple scars that we carry as a society and within ourselves. That's the most important part of what we need to remember today. Secondly, I think today is also about us as individuals taking stock and asking ourselves, what does reconciliation mean for me? And what does reconciliation mean for our society? Is it possible to pursue this in the context that we see? You've already spoken about spatial design of apartheid, the racial divisions. Today we've seen people marching with the old flag of South Africa. Is it possible to still believe in reconciliation? Is it still possible to pursue this dream of building a South Africa that is troubled? We are a troubled people, but we are also a people, I believe, who can continue the search, you know, towards freedom. Today is also about saying we cannot, you know, delude ourselves and say, let's not talk about the past, let's move on. We have to talk about the past. We have to talk about racial inequality. We have to talk about racism in order for us to understand it. As Abdullah Ibrahim said earlier, in order for young people especially to understand our present, but also our history, in order for us to understand our country. The possibility of building a different society depends on our passion, on our commitment, on our courage. It also depends on us as individuals, knowing that choosing reconciliation is not denying what has happened. It is also not doing somebody else a favor. Choosing reconciliation, despite everything, despite sometimes being spat at by racists who continue to hold positions of power in the society. Choosing reconciliation is about choosing freedom and choosing to unburden myself from that oppression.
There's a lot to unpack in what you just said now. There's really a lot to unpack there. And I think the biggest thing for me is choosing reconciliation, like you said, is choosing to acknowledge the past and choosing to work for a greater good of where people want to go, choosing to reconcile. It's not about winning or losing or getting or gaining. It is about trying to reconcile people as a nation. So how do we go about creating dialogue, acknowledging the past, but at the same time moving forward when there is such division that still exists so many years into our democracy?
Well, first and foremost, I think it's important for us to recognize the fact that right now in the country, we do not have champions for reconciliation. We do not have champions for freedom. We do not have champions for a society that is just and that is fair. Neither the president of the country is willing to put South Africans or South Africa as a country first before his own political party, the African National Congress. He has said it himself. Neither is the leader of the Democratic Party, the biggest opposition party in the country, is willing to think about South Africa beyond the narrow interest of the party that she represents. You only have to see the Twitter that she put out yesterday, no reconciliation with corruption. I think we need to acknowledge the fact that we do not have leaders that have the courage and that have the vision to take us as a society forward does not mean that South Africa does not have people to do that. We were not liberated by individuals. We were liberated by ourselves, led by individuals. So I believe that if we embrace the spirit of freedom at all costs, and the cost not being borne by the poor, and the cost not being reproduced in terms of private wealth in white hands, the cost being that there will be discomfort for all of us. I believe that there's so many leaders that will emerge in this society, but we need leaders. We need leaders who have the vision, who are willing to take the risk, and who have the courage.
Well, we've got a big opportunity to do that next year. We'll be discussing, I think, a little bit more after the ad break about that, what it is that we can do as lay people to build reconciliation and to choose leaders who are going to take our country forward, and what you particularly believe it takes as a South African leader right now, what they should do to step up to the plate to make sure our country goes forward. Now, South Africa, after the break, we continue our discussion with Nomboniso. And on a lighter note, we also visit a pet behaviorist to learn a few things about how to keep your cat healthy and happy. So stay right where you are. We'll be right back.
Give kids the gift of hearing this Christmas. Are you with us?
Welcome back to Afternoon Express. We're discussing Reconciliation Day and the bigger perspective of reconciliation, how we move our country forward, particularly seeing the climate that we face at the moment, seeing as we're on Reconciliation Day and all the protests and strikes are happening around our country too. We're joined on the couch by Nomboniso Gasa, who's an incredible lady when it comes to these sort of opinions, and you've got a real perspective on what it means for our country to move forward and how we move forward. And I must ask you this question because I've been dying to ask you for a long time. Madiba in '94 was praised for the decisions that he and his party made and his collective put together. And the Truth and Reconciliation Commission was praised as a self-sacrificing need for the greater good of the country. But there's been a lot of flack that's come back from that. And I think a lot of people are now asking, did Madiba do the right thing? Should we have had something like a civil war? Should we have had a different process that was followed in order for us to achieve reconciliation? What do you think?
Well, I think that, firstly, I wish that people who were part of that movement, who were part of making those decisions, who were part of the discussions around the Constitution like I was, I wish that they actually stepped up and say, we were part of that. And quite a lot of what Nelson Mandela did was, in fact, based on the advice that he also got from people around him. Now, was it the best decision? Or did we make the best choices? I believe we did. I believe that if you read the Constitution very closely, let's take the very contested section on land. If you read the Constitution very closely and you look at how best you can interpret the Constitution, you can, in fact, the state has right to expropriate where it is necessary. You have every possible scenario looked after and balanced there. So part of the criticism about the decisions of 1994, I think they are informed by the fact that people don't see real material change in their lives, or it is not sufficient. And I believe that that is fair. But I also think that there's a lot of disingenuous politicking that is going around. It's not surprising. It's part of what happens. Quite a lot of it also is that a young generation of activists are coming up and they are reviewing, you know, the decisions and the activism and everything that my generation and the generation that is older than me did, and they're saying, you people didn't, you know, you didn't step up sufficiently. That is fair. What I believe is a problem is that underlying this is a sense of disappointment at the way in which South Africans, especially white South Africans, have not been able to overcome their comfort, to take risks, to extend a hand and to say it is possible to live with less privilege. Part of it is a legitimate anger, and anger is not necessarily a negative emotion. Part of it is a legitimate anger at white people who have a lot to say about what is going wrong. And yet, in fact, other studies have shown that a lot of white South Africans live more comfortably now than they did under apartheid. They no longer have the shame and the stigma. So it's a problem. It's like being in a marriage or being in a relationship, right? And saying, I'll do everything to try and make the situation work. And this person continuously saying, yeah, but you've got to do it on my terms. So this is part of what societies go through. But I think that, on the other hand, it's very important for us to look at history, you know, honestly. If you ask me, could we have done anything differently? I would answer and say, honestly, I don't think so. We could not have the Nuremberg trial kind of situation. In South Africa, it is very important to remember there was no victor and there was no vanquished. It's a truth that doesn't sit comfortably with people who rely on rhetoric.
And when having to deal with it, it's important to remember that it's not going to be fun and an easy process. It's going to be something that takes a lot of hardship.
Well, also, if you were if you saw people, black people, killing each other in crossroads, yes, you know, basically the condition was created by the apartheid government. But if you saw people killing each other, at some point you had to be able to say, we've got to figure out a way to say stop the war.
Make this not work.
It's important to remember that at so many different levels, the ANC and Nelson Mandela actually wanted to pull out of negotiations and realize that it was the only option that we had. Where we have failed is post that process, that reconciliation, transforming a society and building a society that is found on justice, fairness and equality is not an event. It's hell of a difficult. It does mean somebody must give up a certain level of comfort. And we've not really, as a society, learned to do that. And, you know, we've got local government elections coming next year. Again, as South Africans, we're saying, what are we going to do? Maybe we're going to vote these people out. Maybe we're going to vote this. And we've got to go beyond that. We've got to understand that every day of our lives,
there's a chance for you to do something.
Choices to transform a society for better or to entrench the inequality and the woundedness that our society is.
Nomboniso, it's such an honor to have you on the couch with us. I really enjoy absorbing all this knowledge. If you guys want to continue to find out information about what she believes and how to follow this journey, make sure you follow her on Twitter. She's very active that side and has got a lot of really important information to share with you all over there. Great chat. Thank you so much for joining us today. Over to you, Jeannie.
Thanks, Danilo. Now, taking a break from this very important topic and moving on to something a little bit lighter, did you know that cats can be trained at a young age to improve their behavior in adulthood? We caught up with animal behaviorist Judy Post to find out more.
Leading animal behaviorist and kitten trainer Judy Post regularly helps cat owners understand their pet's behavior and works with kittens to create a healthy home environment for both the cat and the owner. In the home of Alison Kruger, 2 lively kittens will be training with Judy.
We decided to have our kittens trained by Judy as we're wanting well-adjusted family cats when they become adults, and we want to have a strong bond with them.
Although some people favor cats for their independent nature, they can in fact be trained, and reinforcing good behavior while young will make them better adult cats.
I've trained a lot of kittens and it's actually great fun because owners just generally don't think they can do it, so they don't do it. But if you can do some positive reinforcement training with them, it's very rewarding, and you can teach a cat just whatever you can teach a dog. It's a different way of doing it because they respond differently. So, you know, you don't want to train them sort of any military type style training because that's going to be hopeless. A cat doesn't like it, it's out of there. But it's very important for the owner-pet bond, and also can teach them boundaries and just be a lot of fun. So I think the owner can get quite a lot out of it.
Whenever the kitten performs a task correctly or exhibits a positive behavior, they can be rewarded with a few kibbles, and often linking the positive reward to a clicker works exceptionally well with kittens. Clicker training builds confidence in the kitten and increases its trust in the owner.
Cats behave very differently to dogs. With cats, it's actually impossible to use aversive methods at all, so positive only. And why I say that is because a cat's natural way of dealing with things when they're very stressed, if it's a survival thing, is they will run and they'll get out of the situation. So positive training methods are the only ways that work with them, because that's how you keep them with you. If they don't like what you're doing, they're out of here.
Part of training your kitten or cat is understanding their behavior. This is particularly useful in situations where your cat shows signs of anxiety or stress.
If your cat is suffering from stress and you see them spraying where they have never sprayed before, or they start disappearing, that's where we ask, have there been big changes lately? Have you just moved house? Have there been furniture removals? Is there a new baby in the family? That kind of thing. So you try and pick up what has changed, because sometimes even very subtle changes cause a cat to be very stressed. Once you have a good idea of what might have caused the stress, then you can start dealing with that and making the cat feel more comfortable in that new environment. And there are various ways of doing that, giving them higher places to go so they can observe from above, because that's a natural thing for a cat to do, is go high and observe low. You can't just look at the spraying and try and deal with the spraying sort of by putting a repellent. It's not going to do anything. All you're going to do is the cat going to spray somewhere else. You have to look at what the causes of the behavior. With cats, we see what drives them. So they've got a very strong predatory drive. So if your cat is biting holes in your socks because your toes are wiggling or whatever, and you don't want it to do that, instead of trying to stop your cat doing that, because that is a very natural drive they've got, is to show them something else they can do. So we've got lots of cat toys, those fishing rod toys, we've got balls with things that tinkle inside. If you can distract them with that kind of thing, because if you're trying to tell a cat not to do something. You're not showing them what they can do. So they don't know what behavior they're supposed to do if they're not supposed to do one. So it's pointless trying to get cross with a cat. Show them an alternative behavior, and by that it's rewarding them, so they realize, okay, instead of going for the sock or whatever, they've got this other thing to do.
To help your kitten grow, it needs nutrients for mental and physical development, which can all be found in Bob Martin dry cat food.
Good nutrition is really very important. It is crucial actually for kittens. They need to have strong bones, they need to have strong muscles. They are carnivores, so they do require a lot of protein. And a very well-balanced diet is crucial for that stage for their development. So very definitely nutrition has an effect on behavior, and it's been proven, so yeah.
With healthy meals, positive reinforcement and plenty of love and affection, you can set your kitten up to succeed as a feline companion.
Oh, cats, they're so cute. Today we're giving away another hamper to the value of 500 Rand, courtesy of Bob Martin, which is the perfect way to spoil your pet this festive season. All you have to do is SMS the keywords Bob Martin, your name and city to 33728. SMSs cost R1.50 each, T's and C's apply, and are available on our website, afternoonexpress.co.za. After the break, Bonnie sits down with Expresso morning show presenter Leanne Williams to get some tips for the beach over the summer season. We'll be right back on SABC3 after this.
Show them how much you love them with Bob Martin.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express. In the kitchen with these fantastic leftover grilled cheeseums.
Cheeseums?
Yeah, well, because they're leftovers, so cheeses. What do you call, yeah?
Grilled cheeses.
Grilled cheeses.
Yeah.
So we've grilled them.
We've grilled them indeed, and that's kind of it. I like to use one of these sort of flat spatulas and just kind of press them down. Or a great thing is actually get a pan and hold it over the top, and you can kind of compress it down, get a perfect grilled cheese sandwich. And even better, again, I think I said earlier, wrap it in foil, and you get a perfectly yummy, oozy, melty grilled cheese. So we kind of pop these out over onto
when
here.
that cheese just oozes out of it. That is sensational.
So there's lots, enough for everyone that you're entertaining, or you can just, you can just eat them,
I know. I'm salivating, but I do this a lot in the kitchen. Somebody once said to me, I'm always shopping for groceries, and they said, do you actually even like cooking, or do you just like the eating part? And I love eating. My favourite thing in the world. Remember, all of these ingredients and all of our recipes are available on our website, afternoonexpress.co.za. Oh, I cannot wait to get stuck into these cheeses. But for now, I don't know if I'm going to eat this after Leanne Williams tells us all about getting that summer body. She's in the garden with Bonnie.
Welcome to our Fresh Pack Natural Goodness series. Last week we spoke about getting the family ready for the year-end holidays. And now, for those of you heading to the beach, we've got some ideas on how to make the most of the long, hot days ahead. In the loft with us is our favourite, Leanne Williams. She's definitely a beach girl and visits Cape Town's best beaches regularly. She's here to give us some tips to make your beach visit fun and comfortable for the whole family. Welcome to the loft.
Oh, Bonnie, so good to be here.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Lovely to have you.
Thank you.
Now, recently, National Geographic rated Cape Town as having the best beaches in the world, second to Barcelona.
Yeah.
Isn't that incredible?
Listen, I'm not surprised. I've had the opportunity to visit some of the most amazing tropical islands, and when I come back home, this place tops the list every single time. We have got nothing to worry about.
What are some of your favorite beaches?
Well, every year my family goes to Hermanus for the Christmas holidays. So they've got some beautiful beaches here. But right around the corner, we've got Clifton Fourth. We've got Strand with its beautiful warm water, smooth, calm oceans. I think that there's a little something for everyone. And then, of course, if you're a surfer, we've got Bloberg, we've got Muizenberg. It's absolutely incredible.
It's incredible.
It does cater to anybody.
Durban's beautiful as
I
well.
know,
The list is endless.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got your summer body ready for the beach, so that's checked. So you're definitely the girl to ask what to do at the beach this summer.
Well, I've learned a lot over the years, and I think when you are looking at your summer holiday, the first thing that you have to take into consideration always is don't overdo it in the sun on the first day.
Otherwise, you'll never go back.
You'll get burnt to a crisp, and it'll just be unpleasant every single day. And then, of course, always wear sunscreen. I'm talking about 30 SPF and up. You want to make sure that you're protected, and I think what we often forget is that we put on sunscreen in the morning, and then you swim throughout the day and you don't reapply.
You don't reapply.
Yes, that's the quickest way to get burnt. You have to reapply all day long. Another important thing is that beautiful fashion, girls, sun hat. Make sure you are wearing your sun hat. Make sure you're wearing your glasses. Protect your face, protect your skin. Very, very important. And then I think most importantly, just make sure that you stay hydrated throughout the day. Very, very nice way to stay hydrated.
Yummy. This is so yummy.
You know? Very good. And then I have a kind of like an emergency kit with me that has my sunscreen, it's got wet wipes, it's got any creams for cuts and abrasions that I might have during the day, maybe.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. So you just want to make sure that when you're at the beach, you are going to have the most relaxing, fun, satisfying time possible.
What fun stuff do you love doing at the beach?
Girl, I'm all about rest and relaxation. I work 16 hours a day, so I don't really play sport that much, but I'm going to have a good book, and I'm going to have great music, and I'm just going to lie there and take in the beautiful sights that Cape Town has to offer.
And a hello.
Yes.
And in terms of refreshments, what good things are out there for us to pack when we're going to the beach?
Well, because I will spend an entire day at the beach, I usually try and stay away from sugary, fruity drinks, or, you know, what happens is it just makes you thirstier and thirstier. I also try and stay away from foods that are too salty, like crisps and stuff. It's always best to have fresh fruit, fresh vegetables, and then a trick that I have, and something that I think you guys stole from me, is rooibos iced tea. Pop some lemon in there. It's beautiful. It's re-energizing. It's refreshing. It's everything that you need.
This iced tea is amazing, actually.
Girl, did you make it yourself?
Yeah, girl.
Okay, you can stay. So that's basically what I do.
Well, have a gorgeous summer at the beach.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us again.
Awesome. And make sure that you stay protected. Sunscreen, it's everything.
Yeah, because black people think they don't need sunscreen. Biggest myth.
Exactly.
Well, roll on Christmas holidays. I feel a beach visit coming on. Thank you to our guests today. And to those of you on the beach, have a lovely, relaxing holiday. From all of us, until next time, keep well with the natural goodness of Fresh Pack.
Fresh Pack. Goodness comes naturally.
Getting under the skin. Proudly brought to you by Dermalex.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express. Now, it's been a very special show today, and we wish we had another hour to continue the conversation. But as promised earlier, we are absolutely privileged to have the legendary Abdullah Ibrahim performing live in our loft with the song, Did You Hear That Sound? What an absolute privilege to have had that in our loft. Thank you so much. Amazing.
So incredible.
Until tomorrow, we're going to be making the perfect gammon right here on Afternoon Express. Until then, we'll see you then. Ciao. Happy eating.
Another feel-good production.